y'all, get some food for thought. Yeah, it's your boy Omenihu and made on the beat. He made the beat, you know what it is.
Yeah.
We're back.
Yes, indeed.
It's another episode.
More of them.
This is like episode 6.
Episode 6.
How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel like we're doing it. Like really, past 5. Like past 1 was good, but like past 5 is like new milestone level.
That's a milestone.
Yeah,
That's what it
feels
feels
on the
like.
gas, you know.
Yeah, foot on the gas. We're gonna hit triple digit dash soon, but before we even get there, we gotta introduce the squad. Once again, it's your boy Omenihu,
And it's me, Made.
and we got our boy Mr. Handy, aka Danny,
Shout out to Danny,
the biggest bull in the room,
always making us look good.
and we have another special guest.
Special guests in the building.
Man,
In
let
the
these
words of
niggas
Swiss
know.
Beats, God damn it.
Since she's my homie,
Yes.
I'm gonna be possessive.
And you pick good friends. So, please tell us who this is here.
A very special person. I met her during like probably one of my first eras of coming to LA. We connected via the gram, how most kids do nowadays.
Shout out Grandma.
And from the moment we met, there's always been a word I like to use now. It's kinship. And this person has infinitely grown every time I've seen her. And even after COVID, when we hadn't seen each other, the rapport was still there. The flow was still there. Her hair is still her hair.
Facts. Talk your shit.
And I don't even call her by her first name. I just call her by her initials. Her name is KG to me. But to y'all, she is
Kristina Marie Garnett.
Yeah. Blam it.
Reverend KG,
Yes.
if you want to.
Yes.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, of course.
I've been waiting to say this in full, but your jacket is incredible.
Thank you.
And Chris wouldn't let us talk about it
Yeah.
outside of this podcast. So now I can fully geek out about this jacket.
Thank
you. If you're watching this, please zoom in on the jacket. Oh, it's got it. I didn't even peep on the inside. It's reversible camouflage.
Yes.
Yo, you really be studying on these hoes if you just went all orange and red right now.
Yeah.
That's
This
sicko.
is life. Orange and red.
Damn.
You know what's crazy about like everybody that's been on this show so far, for the most part, is like we're very color sensitive to like what colors we wear.
Yeah.
And like how that sort of like portrays our vibe. So that's dope. That's dope.
Yeah, colors are important to me.
Yeah.
It's all an energy. And I knew that today I was going to need to be really in my center and in my power, and that I was going to be sharing a lot of my energy today. So the red really helps keep me grounded, and the orange keeps the creativity flowing. And the fact that I made it, the pants, the jacket, scarf, all of it feels even
super
more
fresh,
lit.
super duper fresh. I need one.
Yes.
As I've said for the 7th time since we've been together.
I got you. Seriously.
Yo, can I get one? Honestly, if my arms were shorter, I would just take the
I was
one
about
off
to
your
say
back.
you might have to come up off that jacket.
Oh my God. Well, the thing is, this fabric is no longer in existence.
Oh no.
So I know. So that's the thing. I only make one of one things. Shout out to Cart, my partner, Arrington Fleming. We do this together.
Shout out to Can you say the name again?
Arrington John Fleming.
Arrington John Fleming.
Yes.
Shout out to you.
Yeah.
Very regal name.
Yes, he's a regal man.
That's
Nice,
funny.
nice.
Because like his whole name actually sounds like a trucking company.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But like Arrington's he's fucking homie. I'm so pissed every time I think about him. He told me, yo, like you should invest in BlackBerry.
Yeah, man. He knows.
He knows.
Yeah.
But obviously he knows because he knows you. And I have a good set of friends who, whenever I meet someone through them, I know that person I met through them is fuckwittable.
Yeah.
not everyone has that. And even May just saying that, like some of my friends have been very like, wow, like of course y'all know each other. You're all good people.
Yeah.
But yo, like let's get into it. Like,
Yeah.
what are you feeling? What's like? Obviously, we've seen each other since COVID, but since we first met, which was probably back 2017, yeah,
Yeah.
when
I
we
think
shot the obviously before we shot my music video Adios, which is never coming out.
that I've never seen, that I practiced all of my Spanish for. I am bilingual, folks, and I worked really hard
So
on that
so
for you.
thank you. And it's not
I know, I understand. I'm not mad.
but my question to you is like that person you were back then, who was she?
In 2017, I had a curly fade and it was blonde, and I was mad at men and really trying to understand where that anger came from, because I actually really, really wanted to be in a relationship, but I was just really angry at all the experiences that I was having. So, yeah, the person back then, I used to party a lot, and I was going out every weekend and enjoying the turn up because I was exploring what it felt like to be myself uninhibited, but except using alcohol and substances to do that. And it was fun because I got to tell every girl that she was cute. And when I saw a couple in the club, I would be like, let me take your photo for you, and take their phones and just hype them up. And it was so fun to give that energy and see how happy they were in receiving it. And so it was a real party time in my life, but it was a practice for me to be exactly who I am now. So I got to just rehearse without feeling crazy or held back by anything I was saying. And now I don't party nearly as much or use any of the things I was using, but it's because I feel integrated in my whole being now. Like I can say all the things and not feel bad and feel excited, loving everybody, even if they don't know who I am. Like I give compliments freely because you are special.
No,
That is
Sorry.
incredible. No, it's all good.
You know,
Things happen.
and
But-
I'm glad you had that moment because I get to do this.
Thank you.
No, that's man, that's so incredible. It just made me think of like the importance behind like how everybody gets to where they are before they
Oh my
stand in
God.
front of you.
Yeah.
And to hear that that's your story, and to see how like, you know, I guess you've come into your sense of maturity currently is yeah, that's great, and I appreciate you for sharing that.
Thank you.
And yeah, everything you're doing is working right now.
Thank
You know,
you.
the
Wow.
progress is there.
The
So.
love.
And the reason why I asked that question because you're somebody that doesn't get hung up on who they were,
Interesting.
and like obviously now it's like you've always been a seamstress, and that was a thing that was presented to like just obviously any onlooker, but now you also reference yourself to Reverend.
Yeah.
You sing and all these things. I just want to like attack like how did you overcome the feeling of being like, yo, this is what the world knows me as and this is what I am?
Yeah.
Like how did you let that go and just be like, no, I'm multiple things?
Well, the best part about this is that everybody who knows me at different parts of my artistic existence. So before you knew me, I was known as Christina the dancer. And I majored in dance in college and danced all my life. But as a small person, I played the violin and clarinet and took dance classes and was running track. I've always just done many things. So I've never felt limited by my expressions, and my parents really supported that. So after I graduated college, I was
What college?
tired. I went to UCLA. Hey. After that, I was tired of dancing and even thinking about dance. So then I started working at a clothing store, and then that made me think about clothes and my body and the ways that I wanted to have a deeper relationship with myself and the way I presented myself to the world. And I started sewing, but it's a generational practice. All the women sew, my grandmothers on both sides, everybody, all the lineages, literally everyone. And in Belize, I'm Belizean, American first generation.
Shout out to Belize.
Yes, for real. And I know that my family sewed for survival. They had to sew to make ends meet, or they would make their school uniforms for their kids or things like that. So now I get to do this as an expansion practice of my own expression, not because I have to do this to survive, even though there's some of that there, but now it's more artistic. And so when I came out to the world on Instagram as a designer, it felt confusing at first because everybody on there only knew me as a dancer. And then I started to gain a community from being a designer, and then that I design a lot of clothing for dance companies and dance friends, it intertwined into that world. So now everybody knows that I know the body on stage and in movement, and it correlates. And then music happened, and that was another thing. Like, oh, I also do this. Like, actually, my first job ever in life was The Lion King. Like, I'm a full-on artist all around. And so
Wait, hold on. You gotta pump the brakes on that part. Like, what
it's a lot. It's a journey.
What about The
man.
Lion King? You can't. What does that mean?
Okay, so when I was 10 years old, I booked The Lion King. I was young Nala at the Pantages Theater in Hollywood.
Oh,
So
shit.
Broadway, that was my first employment ever in this lifetime.
Her parents took all
Wow.
the checks.
No, you know, my parents took all the checks and put it in an account for me when I
Fire,
turned 18.
fire.
So
Responsibility.
they handled that really
Okay,
well.
okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it just was reintroducing to the world that I am a singer and have a voice and act and all of that. So I've been slowly unfurling, but mostly for myself and just using Instagram as a way to share it with other people, but also learning that I don't really have to care what other people think about me or what I'm sharing or whether or not they put me in a category, because I know that I'm unlike anything that exists, and I'm okay with that, actually.
That's
Man,
what's
if
up.
you don't stop talking your shit, talk your shit.
Man, it's a journey. I'm happy to be here, seriously.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
The last part you said really hit because we had that conversation about imposter syndrome before we
Yes.
started rolling. And yeah, no, that's something that I suffer from. A lot of people suffer from.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's refreshing to hear that, you know, you reached a place where you understand all that you are and there's no shame or hide in it, even
No.
if it's something that people don't know you for. You
Yeah.
know, like a lot of the time for myself to achieve that, I looked at, like I had to move, I had to leave places. When I first started out, people knew me for being funny and for playing basketball.
Yeah.
That's all they knew me for back home at a certain point.
Where's home?
Aurora, Illinois.
Okay.
So just 40 minutes outside of
Oh,
Chicago.
Wayne's World?
Exactly. That's what
my
everybody
favorite.
knows. Everybody knows us for that, but it wasn't actually shot in Aurora.
I know,
Apparently,
but-
like they just said it was Aurora.
Yeah.
But you know, we'll take it. There's other fun facts about us, but you
I'm
know, that's
sorry.
the main one.
No,
Anyways.
actually, I don't apologize for that.
Yeah, it's okay. We're used to it. But yeah, up until that point, everybody there knew me for those two things. So it was like a real like shocking point in my life when I decided I wanted to even just be creative, yet alone go into doing music
Yeah.
or, you know, being interested in fashion. Like it just didn't live where I was at.
Yeah.
And it was such a hurdle that it was just like, yo, I gotta move to Chicago to be myself. And I gotta leave some of the people that I knew in the past who were holding me to this one template.
Yeah.
And it continued on to New York and then even to here. But the one thing that I could never avoid was the step that you just mentioned, where it's just like accepting and believing that that is actually who you are.
Yeah.
Because you choose to be. Like I could wake up tomorrow morning and be like, yo, like, you know, I'm gonna start you know, doing architecture. And that's what my heart's telling me to
Yeah.
do. And I gotta share this with the world and accept and believe myself that that's what I want to do.
Yes.
So it's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's weird. Like since the development of, I think specifically Instagram, is like people think they have something to uphold, and like they act like they have like some social media managers that they have to report to be like, is this on brand?
Yeah.
Is this my color palette?
Mhm.
Oh, can I post this?
Yeah.
Bro, like if you don't get your dumb ass on and just
Do what the fuck?
but like I suffer from that too. It's like, oh, I didn't
We all do.
yeah, and it's like they call it a panopticon, where it's the like let's say you're in a jail and they have a tower in the middle,
Mm-hmm.
and the light at the tower is so bright you don't know who's in there, but the assumption is there's someone always watching you. So the inmates govern themselves without anyone having to be in the tower.
Whoa, big brother.
So it's like we're governing ourselves and keeping ourselves from fully expressing ourselves because we're like, oh, but I'm a dancer. I don't know if I can, bro. And we talked about this on episode 2 or talking about pivoting. It's like you just said, okay, you went from dance to being a seamstress, but once you switch to seamstress, there's no on and off switch.
Boom.
You just start doing, you just start sewing, and then your past experiences as a dancer, you like, let me fix this issue that I had as a dancer, but through fashion.
That's literally it. Literally it.
And it's like, I don't know why it's so hard for people to understand. Virgil started.
I was thinking of Virgil, bro.
Rest in
the whole
peace.
time I was thinking of Virgil, man. Yes, rest in peace. Shout out to Virgil.
Yeah,
Such a
man.
huge
and it's like
piece.
he started in architecture.
Yep.
He
And
didn't
that's
start.
what made his fashion different and what it
Yes.
was.
He didn't start in fucking streetwear. He started in where he started, and it's that base, that fundamental, helped influence his approach. And obviously, as you start going down a new path, you start adding new tricks, but it's like you're still coming from a architecture background.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And it's like people fight the nuance that we carry. No, bro.
It's because a lot in life does not make sense. It's just how you apply what you have or what you've been given. And a lot of the time we get what we think, or we get what we think is specific, but it's really just so that it can give you a new perspective on what you're supposed to do next. So if, instead of being so technical and being like, this whole time I've been doing fashion, like you said, like all the different backgrounds of what you've started doing, it's like you probably subconsciously think about the dancer in
Absolutely.
your music and in your fashion and all of them, back and forth. So that's what makes your approach and your, what comes out as the product so much more different in that one of one that you spoke about. So,
Yeah. Yeah. That is the magic in all of us, you guys. Like
no, that's a fact.
Her face.
I'm so happy about this because it's my favorite thing to talk about. Like we all can be designers in this room and it's all going to be different because we all have a different perspective in the same room and it's going to have a different background story and reasoning behind the color and texture and whatever. And that is why nobody can really copy anybody. Like you just put your own lens, veil, filter on an idea, but it becomes yours because you're you.
Yeah. Did you have something for
I
that?
was just gonna say, if everyone in the room was asked on a sheet of paper to describe the color blue, it would just be everyone would come up with a different answer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
With no crayon, put it into words, it's gonna be a different set of words, a different sentence. And that just goes to show, even though we know this word or this thing as such, the way we internalize it and the way we reflect on it is so fucking different.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got for the people who, well, nobody could see this on camera, but we're sitting here in the Stevie Wonder clips. And that's one of my favorite things about the concept of Stevie Wonder being blind and still being able to, like, I thought about the fact that he can't even use certain visual words,
Interesting.
but he still connects to the feeling of what might be yellow or the visual of a sunny day. Like, that is his perspective.
Whoa.
And he still connects with so many more people on this earth who have eyes to see, but he gets us to see it and appreciate it in a new way, even though he can't see it for himself.
Mm-hmm.
And that is like the most mind-blowing shit to me,
Yeah. And it's like when you have senses and one of them is inhibited, you then have to rely on other senses. And just because you can't see with your eyes, you start to see with your ears. You can play a song for a random person in the club and they're like, yo, like that bass sound is dope. And it's like, and you take that same song, play it to somebody who is making music. They're like, yeah, that bass sound's at 808. and you hear the low end. It's distorted at the bottom frequency of it. But you play it for an engineer who mixes music, he's gonna be able to tell you like, okay, there's a low cut at the frequency 80,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, yo, but it's the same song, but three different
ways to see it.
yeah.
That's something that is bugged out to me and plays into my imposter syndrome a lot of the time. Like I do music and I sample a lot. I'll sample myself even if I play something. And the biggest part about doing music is, especially when your peers are also doing music and doing things that are amazing, is understanding that like whatever my hands do is not important. It's about the way that I hear. Like everybody I feel like has a specific filter over their ears or lens over their eyes or any other system that, is a sense that gets them to, put it together differently. So a lot of what I'm doing, I'm like, man, I'm trying to make sure I have the correct dexterity, which is like the way my hands form over the keys or the technique that I use to chop. But at the end of the day, it's my ears. Like when I run across something, I'm just like, no, not that part right there. That is what makes me special, not the way that I, technically chopped it and this and that and that. And the further away with the work and the technicalities that I go, I get away from the thing that makes me special, which is just like, yo, I use my ears. I didn't even do nothing much to this. I just saw it in a way that not a lot of people can see it, And that's something that is it's hard to credit it to yourself, but that's the most important thing about what you do. Like I love that about being in this space. It's like, yo, like I look around and I see all these items and these plants and things that you sourced and brought together. And it's like, bro, something is so special about the way that you see things, Doug. And you're just like, yeah, it's
I agree
not
with
where I
that.
want it to be. But I step in here and I'm just like, yo, like I would have seen that same thing and I wouldn't have done what you did with it. But it was so natural to you, like you're able to trust your intuition to be able to be like, nah, like that's where we're gonna put the TV, that's where we're gonna put the piano, we're gonna put plants on it.
And that's and what he's referring to, there's a 1950s TV that has a record player and a radio in it, and it doesn't work. But whenever I got it, I didn't get it with the intention of it working. I just got it because I'm like, yo, this is the illest shit I've seen. No one's on this, and I'm gonna find something to do with it at some point. And then we bring it into the space, and it became the TV stand. And eventually, it's gonna change when we mount the TV. But mainly, when I see things, I'm like, I can do something with this. When you see fabric, you're like, I could do something with this. When you hear an old song, you're like, I could do something with this.
Yep.
And I wish more people would live their life a little more like an artist, where it's like, I'm going to take this scrap that someone has designated as scrap, do something with it.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the journey for me. It's like, it's not about buying the finished product and rocking it. It's not about, you go to any like event where more posh people are, like let's say you went to Art Basel this couple weeks ago or whatever, and like you see people who dressed off the mannequin.
Yeah. And the funny thing about that is everything that's being put on those shelves is just reflecting us. Like when you look at what has been, in style is workwear, is streetwear, and it's just like all they're doing is taking something that is not a part of someone who's upper scale or upper class's lifestyle as far as function anymore, because they live a more ritzy life potentially, and they're giving you the product of the culture being built by the struggle and everyday necessity.
That's a really good way to put it.
Where in the streets at a more like attainable level.
It's the problem solving. Like that's the thing. It's like when you bought that fabric for the jacket, you buy it, and right when you obtain it, it creates a problem. It's like, what am I doing with it? And then you start sewing it, and you're like, damn, I don't have enough fabric for this. Then you stitch something else together, and it's just like, that's the joy, that's the funk, and that's the beauty in it all. And like even today when we're setting up angles and mics and all this, it's a podcast with no budget.
Mhm.
And it's not about the budget. It's about using the resources we have already and running with it.
Facts. Facts. So I'm just gonna do something new because we've never actually. It's so crazy. We end up just like doing stream of conscience the whole
Yeah.
show for everything we've done. But I would be curious to know, just to drop a question, what's the most recent obstacle that you've dealt with in either life or creativity? What's a boundary that just like you feel like maybe you had to improvise or it tested you to, be a little bit more creative than maybe even you wanted to be?
Deep sigh.
Yeah. You're the second person who has asked me what struggles have I experienced, and I'm interested in why you're interested in that perspective.
I just felt it. It was just like a feeling. I was like, all right, this is what it is. I got to ask that question.
Yeah.
And to even before you answer that question, I think, obviously not this room, but I've seen it with my own two eyes. People don't trust people who are happy.
Right.
They're like, what's the man? She must sacrifice pigs when she get home. Like, like people are like so much of a hater or a hall monitor.
Yeah.
They're trying to like crack the code so that they know that you're not as good
Yeah.
as they feel that you are.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's probably one of the reasons why people are like,
Are interested. Yeah, actually I was interviewing for a position that I will not share until I receive the news.
until you get it.
You feel me?
Yeah.
And they asked the same thing, and I just didn't answer. I just did what I just did, took a breath, and one of the other people in the room came to my defense and was like, well, that's a hard question to ask. I mean, we all experience it. And I was like,
That's an Oprah Winfrey ass question you have there.
oh my gosh. I guess I can say and share that I recently realized and continue to realize that I have to do the thing. Like, the ideas, we're artists, and the ideas are going to flow forever and ever and ever. And it's one thing to have the idea, and it's the other thing to get up and then physically do the work to create the thing.
Mhm.
And I have screenshots on screenshots and Pinterest boards and Instagram saves of garments that inspire me and all the things that I can make. But I'll just continue to lay there and scroll and look for more stuff.
Yeah.
And last night, I just really pulled myself together and decided that I can have all the ideas and I can also do them because I can compile forever.
Mhm.
So I got up and it was like 9:30 and I started making a corset that I really wanted. And it was really fun to just take my time in the whole process. And I'm realizing that how we do anything is how we do everything.
Yeah.
Like,
Wait, no, hold on.
If air horns was a person.
You were about to
It'd be
you like roll through
I
that
was about
stop
to go
sign.
in. Yeah.
Say that again.
How we do everything, how we do anything is how we do everything.
Yeah. And I'm really glad I just asked you that question, even though I had no idea. I was like, because whenever you ask questions like that, it is hard. It's like when someone asks
Yeah.
you, like, what's your greatest weakness? And it's like, I
Yeah.
never have the answer to this question. That's my greatest weakness.
Right.
In my squats, like what the
Um,
fuck?
But, it kind of, it reflected something that I've been experiencing lately, which is, and Chris, you sent me a video too about like how difficult starting can be. But if you focus on just the first 2 minutes of
Yes.
what it takes to be in the action of doing something, it can help your follow through. So the example in the video that you sent was going to the gym. And if you think about like the first 2 minutes of what you need to do to prepare to go to the gym, the actions that put you in motion, it's like, okay, you're going to put on your shoes, you're going to tie your shoes, you're going to leave the house, you're going to lock the door. Now you're outside. And then you're going to go to the car walk or whatever the case might
Yeah.
be. And that's so important because a lot of me thinks exactly what you thought. When you look for inspirations, I'm constantly in preparation mode instead
Right.
of expression mode.
You're never going to be ready.
Yeah,
You
you're
just have to do it,
no
and then
matter how.
it becomes.
I wish that was something that was more spoken about, even for people and artists who do what they do professionally at a high level. I gotta understand, Pharrell goes through the same thing that I do, where he doesn't know what is going to be made today, if it's good, if he's making frontin', if he's making a beat that we've never heard before because it was terrible. It's the same thing. You
Yeah.
still have to show up. You got to crawl to your computer or to your instrument and let whatever it is flow through you. You got to get out of the way of the channel. We're just
Yes.
channels and whistles. So the more work that we do on ourselves, we just got to show up and go outside so that we can catch wind. That's all it is.
Yeah. The more work we do, the more we clear, and the more easier everything will flow because there's nothing blocking the way.
Exactly. And I got a term I use with my artist peers is creative constipation. And a lot of us reach that point. And I'm sorry, but it's the truth. Like we
Interesting.
catch buildup because of not releasing or because of having such expectation.
Yeah.
And we don't do that cleanse. So it just builds up to the point where it's just like, yo, like I cannot, you like implode damn near.
And
you know?
this is why I have a love-hate relationship with YouTubers, Instagrammers, influencers. They don't experience that constipation.
How do you know that?
This is why. Because their job is to post. Their job is to create a schedule and be constantly in people's faces, show everything. Artists, we hide behind this once again, this panopticon that's like, yo, like, if I drop this weak shit, I'm done out here.
But you don't think they feel like
They do, but so there's a polarity between the two.
Yes.
One is constantly dropping to the point where they don't feel anything, and maybe they're not experiencing the necessary buildup to make something that's beyond the surface level. Just speaking about a general YouTuber, not someone who, I don't know. I'm sure there's people who view it as at the same degree that we
Yeah, it's
view
art.
our, music or whatever. But on the other side, like musicians, you're creating a piece that's going to be expected to stand the test of time. And that is something that's extremely hard to do because you don't want to. I was talking to my homie earlier today, and he was just like, man, why don't you just do these ideas and tell these people? I'm just like, yo, I'm not going to put an infant into the football game. This is football. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to put my baby out on the field like that. I got to make sure that it's like,
He ain't got no helmet on.
Nothing.
He about to get sacked. No, this is my baby.
You
This is
know,
my baby.
That's
No.
what could really happen. That's my concern is like, whenever I create something, I have to make sure that it's postured in a way that it can, if it's not there now where it's like, it can hold its own, it has to be able to have the right posture to grow into what it needs to be over time.
And I don't want that type of romance with my work anymore.
I feel that.
It's like, because to create that child, it took love, like that moment. But once the child's born, once that art piece is born, I need to let that motherfucker walk. I need to let that motherfucker crawl. And that's why, once again, I have a big respect on the consistency and the volume in which some of these influencers or creators content creators work at, because it's like they wake up even during a depression, during COVID, during a breakup, during a job, and they report to their craft and they post.
Yeah.
And none of it is like inspirational to me, like some of the shit that you might have on your Pinterest, but it's the inspiration is the commitment to the job, that 2-minute warning, that waking up or reporting to the gym. And it's like every time I see their post, I know that they shot it, edited it, and posted. And those are right now in this era, those are the most important things. It's doing it, capturing it, editing it. And artists, we get caught up in the editorial phase.
Mm-hmm.
That magazine's never coming out because niggas were like, yo, it need to be Vogue. No, Vogue ain't even Vogue anymore. Like,
that's a fact.
And it's like, and once it gets out the editorial phase, they put it on the newspaper stand. They put it on the emailer, and it's like we have to think about it kind of in that way. Obviously, we have the right to hold on to something as long as it takes for us to be happy with it. But I realized recently, I don't know when I'm happy with something.
I feel like that's the work. Like, I think as artists, like I said, we have infinite ideas. And even the times when you feel backed up, like you don't know what to make, you have things written down already that you have thought of before this now moment that you can go back in a reference and create from. And I'm interested in inviting you two and the rest of the artists in the world and everybody watching this to notice your process, because I don't think that it needs to be painful or brooding or
For real.
like, I don't know. I just think that the ebb and the flow is natural. The ocean moves forward and backward. The breath goes in and out. All of these things are natural. So I think creativity naturally is going to flow in that way. And we don't need to feel inadequate or upset or comparing because the things aren't flowing in the way we think they should or want them to.
Yeah. The comparison is a big one for me. We get to see so many lives that are none of our business on a daily basis on a single sitting. Like, think about how many lives you just peered in on, and you don't know the story of what actually happened to get them to that point. And then you don't realize the fact that everybody is trying not to break code on social media if they're outputting. It's like on YouTube, like, you don't get to know how your favorite YouTuber feels the day that they wake up and put something out.
But why?
I don't know. I want to see more of it. I want to see more humans and less profiles. Like,
You know, one of my favorite memes, like on Twitter, is a Simpsons meme where Homer is standing in front of Marge in his underwear, and he has all his fat like rubber band in, so he looks slim.
Backward.
And that's what we do. And I don't have a, I think that's what people want. They don't. They want the authenticity. They want to see your home. They want that, but they want to see the home clean.
mm-hmm.
Like when you go to Cribs or you watch that other show,
So.
you see the architecture. They don't want to see the toy on the floor.
Nah. Like when Cribs aired, this is gonna be out there, I guess. But like, especially if people are younger than 20 years old listening to this. But when they had Cribs, MTV Cribs, my least favorite episode was Redman when I was a kid. Because
that's a deep cut.
Nah, for real. Like, this nigga's house
He had
was
the money
in,
in
like,
the
New
box.
Jersey. Yeah, exactly. Like, it was like the most regular, unorganized shit of all time. But I watch it now as a man, and I'm just like, nah, that's kind of dope that he did that, especially when we found out that most people who was doing MTV Cribs didn't even own their home.
Facts.
He never tried to flex. He did the real thing. And it wasn't cool at the moment for me. I'm sure like there were other people who were just like, oh yeah, that's hilarious. That's on brand for him. But he really kept it real. And there's people who can attest to the fact that that was his real place.
Yeah.
That was his real self. And I just feel like more people got to do that in this social media era because it is empowering. It's just not always cool in the moment. You might catch shit in the moment. That's the only part that sucks. You might catch shit in the moment, but in the long term, especially even just for your own personal health, like fuck what everybody else has to say about it. But knowing that you did it your way and that you embraced and felt power in your own story and the way that your life looked amidst everybody else dressing it up, there's a power in that,
I've said this to people, but they didn't really vibe with the statement, but I feel like every genius has been called stupid.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the ideas
Crazy,
are too
especially
original. It's too innovative. Like, this is why everybody has a lot of things to say about Kanye, because he is creating. He is creating. When you're a creator, nothing exists. It's all psychic and then alchemy. It becomes a tangible thing.
Yeah.
And so when you're creating something that no one has ever seen or heard before, and I'm sure that maybe earlier in his label meetings, he's like, okay, I have this idea for a video and all this stuff. And these people are like, no, that's ridiculous, blah, blah, blah. Does it anyway. And it's amazing. And everyone's like, we want more of this. But that's the artist's journey. We have to keep innovating. And Arrington and I talk about this all the time, that when you're an innovator and you're an artist and you're at the front, we don't have guides to look back to. Like, yes, we have Pharrell and other Elon, like other artists, creatives who are making waves in the world. And at the same time, we're all just looking at each other, but there's really no path that can help me find the answer of how to put emotion to the language I'm feeling, and like trying to organize things in ways that feel more digestible. Like, these are answers that we can only get from inside. And because we have the magic to create things, we also have the ability to answer those questions because they're coming from us, which is why meditation is important, because
journaling,
you literally hear your inner voice. Like, you get to know who you are and why you come to certain conclusions and what the patterns are that you follow that have gotten you to this place. And only you can know that. Like, no one can be you and know the millions of things you think about every day.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, meditation is really learning to hear your own voice.
That's it.
Like, unaltered from what you're supposed to be doing, how people see you. It's just you.
Yeah.
And the more you strengthen that, for one, you can increase your zone and your level of focus. You can recognize it in other things and just go deep.
Yes.
That's what Kobe was sick at. Like, some of the highest, like, competitive beings and creatives are sick at finding their zone. It comes from something so small, like spending time with yourself for 10 minutes a day, just in complete silence, listening to your thoughts so you can know, okay, that's me. Okay, that's fear. Okay, that's the role that I play in this matrix, whether it be the job or my home, my family, the people around me see me like this.
Yeah.
But the voice in my head that I recognize from the time I spent alone, and that is in alignment with the universe or God, is the one that is going to take me to where I need to be next perfectly.
You need the spiritual foundation. No matter what you do, you need to lay the groundwork first. And I think that's why a lot of childhood actors fall off, because they're too little and there was no guidance or no one around them letting them know, empowering them, helping them make decisions. And even now, people our age will blow up from Instagram and all these things and have all this money and then not know what to do with it, or are spiritually not okay, or turning to drugs and hurting themselves because there's no connection there. They're forgetting that there's still a spirit in a human body.
It's funny, all the things that we do to find ourselves, we really just need to do nothing. That's the only time you find yourself.
On you niggas' heads.
Yeah.
So that's the concept of drowning. Most people who drown would have just been safer by playing dead.
But surrender.
Surrender. That is the hardest thing to do in this life. Is surrender.
It's because no one taught us.
Exactly. And even when you do it once, you got to remember how to do it again. You get powerful, and you have to. That's the craziest thing about the trajectory of your journey, is you overcome things and you think that you don't have to do them again. But it's like, surrender is a muscle that you have to build and use on every level.
Every day.
Whether you're at the beginning or whether you're at the end. And it's the same thing with you were talking about what it is to be a creative and how you gotta break the mold and say that idea that people think is crazy. The moment you become successful at that, you think, oh, okay, they're gonna believe my ideas, right? Maybe for a window of time. But really, there's only a few people who have been creating their entire careers. And a lot of them sound like Kanye. Like, it's like they're crazy still.
Facts.
And that's the only way that I could prove that he's going further and doing new things, is the fact that we still don't understand and he's still after it. Agree with it or not, it's those guys you can still make fun of,
It's the
guys and girls.
people we still call idiots. And it's like, every time we're like, nah, that's not gonna work. It works. Maybe not how we predicted it or how he predicted it, but it's gonna work. And most of the successful people that I've talked to, especially in the creative field, who are above the age of 30, they're like, I just stuck with it.
Yep.
Sticking with something is no different from waking up and brushing. Like, people are like, oh, I don't know if I can consistently do this every day, or I don't know, it's hard. I brush my teeth almost every day.
But that's the anxiety and the depression part. The anxiety is living in the future, depression is living in the past. And so you are overwhelmed by this thing you haven't even done yet because you're imagining all the energy it's going to take to create it and continue it when you can just do a little bit for 2 minutes. Like you said, I was doing that with sewing. I'll put a timer on for 30 minutes. So take a break, come back to it. But even if I've just done one 30-minute segment, I've still done something. Like life is baby steps. It's not everything at one time. So
it's a brick at a time to build a
that's
wall
it.
every time.
Thanks.
You don't just place a wall there. It's just not how it goes.
That's it.
And even if you had a wall to place, that's going to be an expensive thing to so you're going to have to find time to get the money and the resources to just throw the wall there.
That takes machinery.
That takes machinery. That takes a lot of other resources. So I think people do want to skip steps only because they don't want to go through the pain.
Yeah, but that's where the growth happens.
Exactly. You get to know how you get to really know how that thing is built and the emotional hurdles that come with it that you've overcome each and every time.
Yes. And then you feel more inclined to stick with it. It's like when you go to the gym and lift weights, that shit hurts after.
Yep.
But you keep going and you're getting bigger, right? But you had to tear your muscles in order for it to grow back stronger. Like it's the same thing.
Facts.
Yep.
So we were talking about this voice that is in us or around us. And that we have time for this question. But KG,
Yeah.
what's that voice saying to you right now? Or what has it been hinting at to you?
This voice has been telling me that I know everything I need to know. I said this to you. I just know everything I need to know right now up until this point. And when opportunities present themselves, I get to feel the nerves, but then release it just as quickly because I needed to be here in this moment to receive whatever this offering is. And I don't need to be any more prepared than now because I'm being offered this now, which means whatever energy that aligned this is in alignment with everything I've already experienced.
Yeah.
So it's the feeling of presence. You know, like you said, you go out the door and now you're walking to the car and now you're going to the gym. That's just mindfulness, awareness of the current moment. And it's easier to move from that place rather than thinking, do I even know enough to be on this podcast? Or are they going to hire me? Or what if what I'm saying is not important? Like, I know a lot of things. I can like fully say that and not feel scared about it because who's going to tell me no?
No, that's a fact. And something important that I heard you say. You say a lot of important things.
Thank you. I make YouTube videos, guys. Check it out. K Garnettification.
Yes. Damn. I just forgot what I was gonna say.
She says a lot of important things.
She says a lot of important things. Damn.
You know everything you need to know. Everything is accumulated.
Ooh, I can't remember.
Step
Come back.
retrace.
But it doesn't even matter because the question now lands on you. What's
Okay.
your internal voice telling you?
My internal voice is telling me that surrender is necessary, and there is only so much that is really. Oh, I remember what I was gonna say. Okay. So
Rewind.
thank you for bringing me back. So one of the things that we all have to practice doing is giving ourselves credit.
Yeah.
And understanding that there is a story of experience, work, and sacrifice that's brought you to the exact moment where you're receiving. And when we receive, if you forget because you haven't given yourself credit, you won't think that you deserve anything that comes across. You won't think that you're capable of handling anything that is there in front of you. You know what I mean? And the analogy, I do this thing called made textiles where I just basically take whatever proverbs come to me in meditation or in an experience that I have in life, or mainly like internal struggles, and I just put them out. One of the things that I realized was that if you don't give yourself credit, it's like an employee who doesn't get paid what they show up for work. So every time that I choose not to give myself credit, I'm giving my spirit an excuse to stay home and not do shit. You know?
Hold on. Pause. Let that shit simmer. Sheesh.
That's
Okay.
the only way that you can that your energy can stay high and be able to deliver is if you give it that credit. It's like fuel. It's like acknowledgement. And if you don't do that, and a lot of the time we wait for other people to validate and give
Yes.
us credit, when really your spirit is just waiting for you to acknowledge and see itself. Yeah, you're good enough. Yes, we went this far. We worked out this hard. We researched this hard. We did this many case studies for you to believe in yourself, for you to credit what you were capable of.
Yeah.
So that is what I got from listening to what you had just said before, which is like it's important to just acknowledge and give yourself credit
Yes.
along the journey.
Damn. That's dope. That's dope. If I can answer my own question, bruh, you know, for me, it's like I've always prided myself on like being like so independent of like people and like me being like the last born. I used to go to the backyard and just pick up a stick and like create like a whole like world where I'm fighting enemies and just do it on my own. The only reason why I'm so fascinated with cooking now is because I grew up knowing like if I didn't cook, I'm gonna have to eat something that I potentially didn't like.
Real shit.
But recently in my adult years, I realized, but I really go crazy when I'm cooking for people.
You do.
when I'm doing something for people or with people, like I turn up.
Mm-hmm.
And like obviously I can drum up a lot of motivation, self-discipline. But when I'm really going in on something with somebody like Danny, who's been with me since the end of May 2020, my form of my I would say the caliber of expression, my intensity goes up. Every time Thanksgiving happens, I turn up because I know there's people that I'm about to like just fucking like impress, but people I'm about to undergo this fellowship with. And I think this podcast is an example of, I told you from the beginning, it's like, bro, like I'm only down to do this if I'm doing it with you. Because I can talk on my own, but I don't feel like it.
Nah, I feel you.
But I really feel like it when there's a Danny in the room, when there's a maid in the room, and there's a person as cool and as consistent and as inspiring as KG in the room. Because it's like, fuck, like I actually like doing nothing.
Yeah.
But
It's allowed.
yeah. But when people are around, I'm like, yo, like we can't waste this moment because we don't know when we're gonna get together again. We don't know when this combination's ever gonna happen. Obviously, death is real, but people also move.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't know when this combination is gonna happen. So I'm always like, okay, now that we're here, let's fucking do it.
Yeah.
And going back to me being independent, I'm like, nah, bro, like I'm actually doper in a squad.
Yes. Man, that's something that I've really, really, really learned in this season is just understanding that it's so crazy the term independent and you say it so many times and you take, I don't know, I'm a word junkie, you know that I break things down, prefix,
He hates
suffix.
Webster's dictionary.
No, I love Webster's dictionary. I'm just trying to collab. Anyways,
That's good.
I just look at that word the way it's structured and as much as I say it and take pride and ownership, but also own being on my own, like all of these things isolated me from um togetherness or hive mind. And like being here, being a part of this is delivering the best version of me the same way that you feel when you cook a meal for people. Also, I was going to mention when I cook a meal for myself, I don't put as much love into it because
Hell no. I'm just trying to
because-
get to the table
No,
and eat.
that's it.
I'm
It
take your
serves a
hungry.
function, but
time.
I was going to say I want to stop doing that.
Yes. How you
Because
do
I
anything.
deserve that love too. But it's
Yes.
it just be hard. You know what I mean? Loving yourself is actually a multitask. But in either case, like working together is something that's also been on my spirit heavy too, and just understanding like choosing to work on my own is actually like a fear tactic, where it's like,
It's
oh yeah,
comfortable.
the only person I got to answer to if I'm working by myself is me. The only person whose challenges I have is
Yeah.
my own challenges. That's why when I go out in public with whatever I'm doing or whatever I've been working on, I experience that same feeling. I just can't control the outcome because it's no longer me dealing with me. It's out there with people, you know? But if you do it collaboratively, it's like, nah, like these critiques or these suggestions or this camaraderie that we have doesn't uh doesn't shock you because this is something that you become accustomed to. It's out in the plane with everybody to see it. And these are the possibilities and you can live with that.
Yeah, it's also about being safe, feeling safe to open up and be yourself with
Mhm.
people. And that brings out maybe a side of you that not many people know or that you aren't even comfortable with. And it can also help you learn more about you and the other person. And I'm always an open person. So, like I said, my friendships are always deep because I'm this person everywhere. And my friends show up like this too. And we'll full on cry. Shout out to Anjali. I was just in St. Louis to visit her, and we cried on her back porch for the 2 weeks I was there and just caught up for not seeing each other for 2 years. And we were spending every day, every weekend in LA when she lived here before she moved for grad school. And having not seen her in 2 years and then to go back and just catch up like that was great because it wasn't even a recounting of every moment. It just was like, ugh. And we just dumped. And then
Yeah.
after that, we just laid on the couch and did nothing, but it was so nourishing for the both of us. So this is very in alignment because I just uploaded a 2022 energy predictions video on my YouTube.
Shout out to
Talking,
her YouTube.
shout out to YouTube. And
Y'all doing crypto predictions. She doing energy predictions.
yes,
Right.
because everything is numbers and energy. And so 2022, those numbers equal 6. And 6 is the number of community and starting a new life that is radically different from the last year that we've been living. 2021 was a 5 year, so it was all of these shifts and kind of settling into the twists and turns that just kept popping up all year. And so the 6th year is going to be more about community and gathering and doing this
You
and
know
finding our
what's
safe
so crazy
spaces
about
and
that? Like
sharing and
my
yeah,
life path number is 6 and
lit.
then my debit card expires. Don't rip this.
Oh my God.
Don't rip
The
this.
hackers.
Don't rip this. For all the people who had their unemployment cut, if you steal my information, you got debt to pay. I thought about that the other day. I was like, yo, if I get robbed, somebody got to pay my debt.
Yes.
Oh,
How
God.
exciting.
But yeah, it
You
expires
lose.
on 2/22, so it's like I've been seeing that like
Yeah.
crazy. So you kind of just gave me like a life reading for free.
Yeah. Oh, I
Everybody
do
else gotta
this.
subscribe.
For real,
what I mean?
subscribe. Also, I do numerology readings. I do all of the
Fire.
energy. But yeah, it's all about coming together now because we spent this whole year trying to get our feet on the ground and understand what we need, and the year before that. And so this year coming is, how do I be in community again? Things are opening up. We're sharing and
It's begun.
It's begun, and we're here. This is what we usually do at the end.
yeah.
I'm gonna start with Maid, but like with this hour that we spent together, what is the takeaway that you have?
Believe in yourself, and you're not an imposter.
Boom.
Pow pow pow. I didn't know that was gonna get air horns. That's fire.
It's really good. You came full circle.
Yeah.
Young KG,
Yes.
what's a takeaway that you have from?
A takeaway that I have is that I'm safe in my body and I can trust myself.
Oh shit.
No, another air horn for the one time.
Don't forget to give yourself an air horn.
Yeah,
This is what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna say this.
Yes.
I'm thankful for this moment that we're having, all 4 of us. And what y'all are saying is just like, yo, you do deserve it. Like, when you're chugging away, like don't get fucking frustrated at the fact that you have to put the brick down. You want the wall up, but it's only gonna happen by the brick and the mortar. So that's really all. It's like in the fact that we're on episode 6.
Yes, when you said that earlier, no, I immediately, yes, bro, yeah,
Yo,
yeah.
God.
You said that, and I was like, yes, I'm a psychic. I am psychic. You guys
That
know,
is crazy,
know that.
crazy alignment.
Yeah, man.
God is
Yes.
the greatest designer of all time.
And we are all God.
Yes, that's a fact. God, you know what I mean? Like, you know, raindrops to a body of water like the ocean, infinite, you know?
Dude. Yeah.
Damn. The sky
Yeah.
is the water.
I
but
wanted
the
to say
water
that
is the
earlier.
sky, depending on how you look at it, dog.
Hey, that's some New York shit.
Because I said dog.
Dog.
I put in 5 years in New York, so I could do that.
Nice.
Dog.
Yeah. What's up,
Hey,
doggy?
yo.
How you feeling, doggy?
With that being said, my name is Omenihu.
I'm made.
We have a special guest that we've been blessed with to have. What's your name? Where can people find you?
Yeah. I'm Kristina Marie Garnett, and you all can find me on Instagram at K_Garnett. Garnett like Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
And
She the real KG though.
you know,
Fair enough.
his Instagram is not even KG or anything. Like, so that's hilarious.
That's crazy.
K_Garnett. I'm also on YouTube, and my name is K Garnetification.
Okay.
That's deep.
And you can send me an email at KristinaMarieGarnett@gmail.com. And,
Plenty questions.
you know,
Fire.
What's the name of this podcast?
A podcast with no budget, but I like it better when KG says it.
a podcast with no budget.
And that's what it feels like when you outie.
Hey. A Podcast with No Budget was recorded and edited by Omenihu and made at our very own Echo Boyz Studio. Camera work and further assistance, including the artwork, design, and media, was done by Daniel August. No Budget is our collective effort as artists to share our own crafts as trade, which eliminates the budget and empowers greater opportunity for bringing artistic expressions to reality. You can do it with no budget. Visit our social media at nobudget.io. Thanks for listening. Until next time.